Hello everyone, this is Visual Novel Gamer here, and I am back with Katawa Shoujo. Last time we saw a heated battle between Lily and Shisune. I enjoyed it a lot. And we got that very weird scene with Kenji in the shower. Well, not in the shower, but in the bathroom. That was weird, but let's continue on. My morning alarm goes off, and I failed about uselessly for a while. Until I remember that I decided to give morning runs another shot. I don't know if this was my greatest idea, but I'm determined to keep going. This is about my health after all. Sure, things haven't been great lately for me, but that hasn't made exercise so intolerable that I'm not going to try everything I can to stay healthy. Besides, it's all about assessing some kind of control over this thing, right? If I can manage that, well, I can manage anything. At least that's what I keep telling myself. Once again, it would appear that I'm not alone in my run. Emmy has apparently been here for some time. It looks like she's already worked up a good sweat. Just when the hell does she come down here anyway? Oh, it's you! I'm surprised to see you again. Why is that? Well, not many people actually manage to come back for a second try. She frowns, seemingly annoyed by a passing thought. Like the rest of the track team, for instance. Still, it was only supposed to be on a volunteer basis, so it's not that big of a shock. And I guess it's pretty early in the morning. A shrug, and suddenly appears that she'd forgotten what she was talking about. Frown disappears entirely, and she seems to snap back to her previous train of thought. So, come on then. What? You're here to run again, right? Well, yes. So, come on. I find myself suddenly grabbed and yanked onto the track. Things seem to be set on mirroring yesterday. Things seem to be set on mirroring yesterday's run. That is, I seem to be struggling, while Emmy moves with an effortlessly that I find invaluable. It's incredibly bothersome to be so easily worn out. I know I should be patient, work towards things gradually, but it's difficult to stay positive about this. We round the track and start our second lap. Emmy seems to have grown impatient keeping pace with me and begins to pull away. This is where I gave out yesterday. Will I be able to do more? Save here. I'm gonna say go for it or take it easy. Let's go for it. Why not? What am I doing here? Am I really just going to fold and let Emmy pull ahead? I speed up. The second lap's done quickly, and without even considering it, I keep going. Emmy looks back over her shoulder at me and grins. Still going? Want you to think I'm out of shape. Emmy laughs, while breaking her stride no less, and speeds up even more. Well, if this is the way we're going to play things, I increase my own pace as well. I can feel my lungs burning and my legs are starting to question just what the hell I think I'm doing. Lactate acid screams in my muscles, but I close my ears. I can't let myself fall behind because that would be a loss. The irrational voice in my head inquires mildly just when we started playing a game. I answered it, but I'm having a lot of trouble thinking at present. She's so fast. How the hell does she keep it? It's like a string pulling on my chest, a choking feeling and narrowness and pain. Before I think of anything else, then oh shit, the track disappears from under my feet. I stumble, one hand shooting down to clutch at my chest, and the other hitting the track to keep me from falling on my face. Emmy whirls around and her eyes widen. Hisao! She yells at me, sprinting from the other side of the track. What's wrong? Nothing. Just keep your breathing steady. Calm down. Don't panic. Don't panic. Do you need me to get the nurse? I close my eyes, shutting out the outside world. My heart struggles to regain its rhythm. Slowly, the pain in my chest begins to subside. Soon, it's gone, like nothing happened. It was nothing. No, something happened there. I open my eyes again and glance at a very worried Emmy. I think I'm fine. My voice sounds weird, even to myself. Oddly, even and matter of fact, it makes Emmy frown. I don't think you are. She seems to come to a decision and nod to herself. Right, you're coming with me. You got to see the nurse. Emmy grabs my arms and drags me up. I feel a bit wobbly, but I refuse to shoulder Emmy offers for support. Honestly, I'm a little ashamed by my own weakness. I'd really rather not have Emmy concerned about me, but it seems to be too late. Heck, really rather not have anyone concerned about my condition, though. At this point, it seems to be too late for that as well. I like to be able to deal with the whole thing on my own, without being a bother to anyone else. While I'm wishing for things, I'd rather not have this condition in the first place. Nurse! Emmy crashes into his office without knocking, but it doesn't alarm the nurse in the least. Good morning, Sunshine. What's up? Sunshine. Anyway, he calmly sips from his coffee mug but lays it down after following Emmy's gaze to me looming in the doorway. Hisao, what brings you here? We were running and he stumbled over and started grabbing at his chest, and... got it. Stumbled over and grabbed his chest. I thought I'll come down, get you, and make him wait, but he said, Easy there, Emmy. Calm down. Hisao, what happened? I don't know. We were running, and then my chest started hurting like that time before, but it went away after a few seconds. It was just a flutter or something. The nurse frowns, as if to say that just a flutter is some kind of oxymoron. I didn't mean quite this when I suggest to get some exercise. You gotta be more careful, Hisao. I was being careful, Come to think of it, I just got into a race with a member of the track team. Doesn't seem as well reasoned as I thought it would. You just what? That is... I was racing Emmy. Emmy, is this true? Emmy fidgets, looking adorably and cracked. Well... Finally, she can't seem to bring herself to say it aloud, and merely nods. The nurse sighs and rubs at his forehead with one hand tiredly. Emmy, you gotta be more sensitive to the limits of others. I don't know if he told you, but Hisao has a bad heart, and getting him to race you was incredibly irresponsible. Actually I started it. The nurse is stunned by my statement. You what? We were just running and Emmy started to pull away, and so I, sped up to catch her. The nurse stares at the ceiling, mutters a prayer for patience to some god or another, and looks down at the both of us. So you're both stupid. That's a comfort, I guess. Now come on, Hisao, I gotta make sure your heart's not gonna explode or something. I dutifully obeyed and followed him to the adjacent room where we ascertained that I am in fact not going to keel over and die. So how does it feel? I don't know. Nothing much. Tired, but it might just be from the exercise. You should stay here for a few hours and rest. We'll see how you feel after that. I'm not going to object, so I lay down on the infirmary bed. A thorough, miserable Emmy comes in after getting an earful from the nurse in the other room. I couldn't hear what he said though through the closed door, but I'm sure it wasn't pleasantries. Look, I'm really, really sorry. I should have been more careful. Hey, you didn't know. It's not your fault. She looks awfully down and sorry. At my reinsurance didn't do anything much to cheer her up. I want to make it up to you. Again with that decisive nod. So you have to come to lunch with me. I'll bring it for you, okay? Something really, really good. I start with a you don't have to, but then shut up and just nod at her when I see her face. Good. We meet on the roof. We? Yep, the weather's nice now, so the roof's a great spot for lunch, you know. I see. You'll come, right? You wouldn't deny me the chance to make it up to you. Of course not. Great, see you there. I stay afloat somewhere between asleep and awake, feeling completely drained. Not only my body, but all of me is limp and paralyzed, apart from my senses. I swallow with difficulty and then try to lie as still as I can, which in this state is not a very hard thing to do. The nurse is shuffling around on the other side of the curtains. She drew to me to give me privacy. I can see his shadow shifting about in the sunlight. He has opened the window of his office. It's windy outside. The clean white curtains flutter in the breeze in a heavy, lazy motion like waves. Light shifts through them slowly, half absorbing into the fabric. I close my eyes. The breeze on my face feels like the soft fabric of the curtains. I listen to the sound of my heartbeat for a moment, trying to shut out the sound of the nurse tapping away on his computer, and my own heavy breathing. It's steady. Damn it, and not even a week and I ended up like this again. I really screwed up this time. I should have known better than to play the half-baked sports star in front of a real one. And why did I try to act brave? That heart flutter was no big deal, even when it was obvious that it was. It was just a reflex to push it away, to keep it inside. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't want Emmy to see it. Ah! Stupid, stupid, stupid. I have to be more careful or I will end up in the hospital again. Or worse. ... That's my final thought before I give in to the tiredness. I fell asleep. For how long? What time is it? I'm feeling a little lightheaded and I keep blinking compulsively. Pushing the curtain aside, I squint my eyes against the unfiltered light pouring in from the window. The texture of the canvas feels nothing like the wind did before. The nurse looks up from his work, sitting exactly where he was before. How are you feeling? I can't really tell, so I don't answer anything. I feel kind of groggy for falling asleep at such a weird time. Hopefully I don't look too weird. What time is it? Me choking the question to gain some orientation. The nurse, looking at his watch before answering. Things seem to be happening in slow motion. 10:15. I try to think for a moment what that means, but I'm not really sure. You didn't answer my question, Katawa. Oh, fine. Climb down from the bed, and then let's see how you are doing. Don't. I try to do exactly that, only to sway dizzily when I move too fast. The nurse moves to support me by an arm and sighs. Stand up too quickly is what I was going to say. Just sit there and I'll check your pressure to make sure. My good intentions sure lasted for a long time. I shut up, embarrassed with myself, while the nurse gets busy with an old-fashioned counter-trapping on my arm. After a couple of minutes, he puts it away, looks neither pleased nor unhappy. You're alright. Head stopped spinning? Yeah. Good. How are the contents doing? You didn't show very good judgment out there, Hustao. Give me 1 second. Sorry, just give me 1 second. It's what I was thinking myself, but hearing it stated by someone else makes me want to protest. What he's saying is not pleasant to hear. Doesn't make him any less right. Sorry, just give me 1 more second. What he's saying is not pleasant to hear. Doesn't make him any less right. No, sir. He nods, still looking as neutral as he was before. It would be easy to be angry at him if he said told you so or something, but he doesn't. I can try and help you to keep you healthy, but ultimately the last call lies with you. Hopefully this little episode will be something that reminds you of that. Here, a note for your teacher to avoid an interrogation. I take the slip of paper he's offering and then make my leave, as I can't think of anything else to say, nor even really want to. Stay out of trouble, you hear me? I don't think it was anything but a scare, but next time could be different. I hear you. There is some way to get to the school building straight from the auxiliary building, but I'm not keen to find out and possibly get lost, so I go out from the exit that I know works. I stop at the stairs of the building, deliberating for a moment between going to the dorms to get my books and stuff and going straight away to class. The sun stings my eyes, so I head towards the door. The halls are quiet as the courtyard was, naturally so, since everyone is in class. I knock lightly at the door of 3-3 and push open the door when Muto calls from the other side. Sorry I'm late. 15 pairs of eyes turn to me. Good morning, Nakai. Muto seems to be somewhat confounded by my coming in late, as if I interrupted his flow of something. Judging from the rambling lecture his class tended to be, that might be the case. I pass him the note the nurse gave me. Muto takes it with a nod and reads it quietly. He lifts his eyebrow and gives me a kind of stern look, but just doesn't say anything. Just nods solemnly again. I shrug, and he gestures at me to run along, so I naturally do. For a change, charge I'm not among the first ones to come to morning class. Instead, almost everyone seems to be here already. I recognize most of my class by their faces by now, though their names escape me still. The class goes on lazily. I think I'm starting to get into the rhythm of the school. I have even stopped worrying about taking notes and being overly attentive. The first days, I was pretty high-strung in class. Muto finished his lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival. So, as you know, the festival is on the day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, but also come Sunday, please keep the meaning of this festival in your minds. Games and fried food. Everyone bursts out in laughter, and so do I. Yes, thank you. Make a do. But what I meant was more a remainder of his sentence is buried beneath the ring of the lunch bell, and everyone starts packing their things. Muto deliberates for a minute, but since almost nobody seems to pay attention anymore, he gives up and sits down. It's crowded in the hallway, or as crowded as hallways in the school probably get. Most of the students seem to be heading down for the cafeteria. Normally, I join the flow and grab a lunch for myself, but today is different. Today, I've been invited to lunch on the roof. An odd location, but that's where I was told to go. Fortunately, I managed to find shelter from the storm in the lee of the classroom door. Eventually, the torment subsided, and I stepped tentatively out into the hallway, only to be met by Emmy, who comes flaunching down the hallway like a cannonball. Hey, hi Esau, great timing. I have super extra lunch today as promised. Let's go upstairs. The stairway to the roof is a little dilapidated, but it's clearly been used recently. At the top of the stairs is a door complete with missing padlock. I wonder who the intrepid individual was that removed the lock. Emmy shoves the door open and steps beaming into the sunlight. Suddenly, a tall, dark stranger appears out of nowhere. Standing imposingly in front of us, Emmy flinches back, almost falling back down the stairs. Eek! Hello. Yikes. Yips, you scare me, Ren. Wait, isn't she? Hello. Noticing that Ren is speaking to me, Emmy looks curious at me. You two know each other? I look confused at Emmy. She's that friend of yours? Ren has turned her gaze towards the clouds drifting above the school. I didn't know you know this person, Emmy. ... The awkward silence lasted only a few seconds until Emmy lets out a tiny giggle, shrugging the coincidence off. I invited his out for lunch. If you know him, that's just better. Oh, does that mean I don't get food? Or did you invite him for lunch without the lunch? Neither. I have food for 3. Nice thinking. They walked to the other end of the roof. I'll stay at the clock tower for a while, taking in the atmosphere. There's nobody else but us here. I guess the roof... is not as popular as in other schools. A few rundown bleachers and tables are scattered around the edges, perhaps in an attempt to make the rooftop look less deserted. The small pebbles covering the roof rattled beneath my feet. I peeked through the chain-link fence to take a look at the school grounds and beyond. Students are strolling in pairs and groups around the quad range and at the cafeteria. Students are strolling in pairs and groups around the carving and at the cafeteria. A few delivery trucks are driving past the school towards the convenience store nearby. Somewhere, a watchdog barks at a passerby. Somehow, when I look towards the town center, the small town feel strikes me very strongly, almost palpable. The hectic lifestyle of big metropolis seems so far away and foreign here. Nobody has to run to catch the bus like their life depended on it, or get their senses overloaded by the neon lights and traffic jams. I feel surprisingly optimistic about this new life of mine, looking at my hometown, even if it's going to be mine for only one short year. Finding out about my illness and having to move away from home all came so suddenly. I haven't had time to think about how I feel about it. When I step out of the shadow of the clock tower to the open, I feel warmth touching my back. The sun shines from a perfectly clear, certainly sky. A cool breeze sweeping over the roof makes me shiver, but only briefly. The wind carries the scent of trees and flowers, not smog and car exhausts like it used to just a few weeks ago. Emmy settles on a bench with Ren in tow and produces one big and two small lunch boxes from her bag. Come on, Hisav, what are you waiting for? She is begging me to join them, making room on the already small bench. I sat myself on the corner of the bench to take as little space as possible. It's pretty cramped, but somehow all three of us fit on it. Impressive view. Emmy suppressed a giggle and places a lunchbox in front of Ren and hands another lunchbox to me. Here we go, lunch as promised. Homemade, no less. I'm impressed. Wow, this looks really good. Thanks. I make them myself when I can. Conversation dies off as I set about the business of feeding myself. Taking a few bites, I glance up and notice Ren drifting, opening the lunchbox and popping a fork of food into her mouth using only her feet. Even though I've seen it before, I can't help but be impressed at her dexterity. It's almost a reminder of the sort of place I am in right now. Will I ever get used to sights such as this? I can't decide if getting used to such a thing would be a good thing or a bad thing either. Does getting used to this place mean that I'm giving up on being a normal person? Or does it just mean that I'm becoming more understanding about those around me? I'm distracted from my thoughts by the sight of Emmy tearing into her lunch as if it had insulted her ancestors. You seem pretty hungry. Emmy looks up, half full, and swallows before nodding. My morning run always works up an appetite, which is great because then I burn through lunch pretty quickly. Helps me keep my girlish figure. What would happen if you lose it? Would you become a man? I very nearly choke on my lunch trying not to laugh. It's a figure of speech. Does your figure have to run in the mornings too? Do you always talk like this? Talk like what? Like what? I think that answered my question. Never mind. So, I struggled to think of small talk and settled on the obvious question. How'd you two meet? Ren seems content to let Emmy answer this question. Someone in the house department thought that we could copulate each other's well, so we were assigned rooms next to one another. Copulate each other? Like shoes and a shirt. Huh? Emmy giggles at my confusion. Put us together, we got all our limbs, got it? Ah. So I started helping Ren get ready in the mornings, and that was that. I mean, you can't help someone get dressed every morning and not get along. I see. Rem chooses this moment to interject. I have trouble with shirts. Right, that seems fairly obvious. Really? Kind of. This isn't helping, but at least Emmy seems to find the whole thing funny. That combined with the fact that Ren is genuinely curious makes me feel slightly better and yet confused. I mean, you got no arms. So, putting on a shirt seems like one of those things that would be difficult. You know what? I'm just gonna stop talking now. It'll save me a lot of trouble in the long run. Rim nods in what I suspect is meant to be a sage manner. I see. The conversation dies as I turn my attention back to my lunch. They're really quite good. Emmy finishes her lunch first and makes a content noise. Ah, that was good. As she brushes herself with cleaning up her lunch, Rim speaks up. I'm thirsty. Oh, I almost forgot about that. Sorry. With a flutter, she reaches into her bag and removes a trio of juice boxes. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice. Sorry, give me one more second. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice, one Torina that appears to be some kind of strawberry milk, complete with pink color scheme, and keeps an equally pink box of some kind of fruit punch to herself. Ren dexterously stabs her straw through the top of her box and begins to drink. I'm once again by how flexible she is, but this time I keep my comment to myself. Somehow, I don't think either Ren or Emmy or Ren are the sorts of people to think twice about the way they work around their particular disabilities. Ren especially so. Indeed, she gives off the impression of being entirely unaware that she's missing any limbs at all. Whether or not that's a conscious decision is another matter. I'm honestly not sure. So, Hisao, how do you like it up here? It's quite nice, actually. I like high places for the view. Thanks for inviting me up here. And for the lunch, too. Emmy grinds a 1,000-watt grin. Pleased by my response, I suppose. No problem. Feel free to eat with us next time, too, okay? I won't make you lunch, but you can bring your own up here. No lunch service? I don't know. Emmy looks mocked offended. Trying to take advantage of my good nature? The nerve. She giggles. Well, if that's your answer, I guess Ren and I will just keep eating lunch all alone. I am suddenly assaulted by the most heart-reading puppy dog eyes I've ever seen as Emmy pouts. Kidding, I was kidding. I love to eat lunch up here again. Good location and the company's okay too. Emmy frowns a bit at my declaration of okay, but she seems happy enough that I accepted her invitation. I guess this makes us friends now. Or at the least acquaintances. The lunch bell rings, signaling a return downstairs. Ren, you didn't finish your lunch again. I wasn't that hungry. If you don't eat more, you're going to fade away. Rim shrugs as if this is an acceptable risk. Come on, we better get going. The three of us head down the stairs together. The afternoon classes pass. Once again, I found myself without a plan for something to do after school. So I head to the library to return a couple of books I finished reading. Walking inside, I see that there are about as many students here as there were on Tuesday. All the more evident from the almost total silence lapping the room. As soon as I drop the books I borrowed into the return slot in the corner, Yuki suddenly pops up from behind it, quite startled from the bang they make as they hit the trolley next to her. Ah, sorry Yuko, didn't mean to startle you. No, that's fine, it happens a lot. I'm used to it by now. Can I help you? It's okay, I think I know where everything is. Thanks anyway. I suppose I'll grab another book or two while I'm here. There's not much else to do, and after reading so much during my stay in the hospital, it becomes a hard habit to break. I wander down the fiction section towards the back of the library, scanning the bookshelves for anything that catches my eye. As I do, I look over the corner where Hanako had been the last time I was here. Not really expecting anything to come of it. Surprisingly, though, she's there, absorbed completely in a fairly thick book. I decide against intruding on her like last time and get back to finding reading material. After an indescribable amount of time spent pursuing the aisles, I finally decide on a couple of books to get and slide them off the shelf. With a minimal fuss, I quickly walk over to the counter, check out my books, and pop them into my bag as I walk out. By the time I leave the main building, sunset isn't too far away. A small trickle of students remain, but the majority have left, presumably to their homes and dorms. Feeling utterly drained, I head to my room to read the books I borrowed. There's been enough action and excitement for one day already. The first is Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. I know the story, of course, but I never actually read the original book. It's just as trippy as I remember the story to be, with the wacky characters and nonsense plot. I started thinking of myself as some kind of Alice too, helplessly tumbling down the rabbit hole into this cripple wonderland. Okay, that's a rather strong expression, so the isolation, location, and the overly way the school accommodates to absolutely everything is unsettling. It is like another world. I wonder why I can't shake the feeling of being an outsider like Alice, despite most everything being so hospitable and friendly with me. Turning another page, my mind starts drifting further away from the book. It's quiet. I can hear my heartbeat thumping against the fabric of my shirt. For some reason, it makes me feel really bad, like it has since that time in the forest with Inako. Like I was locked in a cage with something nasty and scary. I put the book down for a while and stare at the ceiling, taking my time to shake off the feeling. 200 pages later, I fell asleep. He read those pages fast. The students roll into class for the Saturday morning session, each and every one of them sporting the tired eyes of people who have worked through the night. With only a day left to prepare, I suppose it's not so surprisingly. Thankfully, we have only to suffer through classes until the lunch break, and then our time is our own. Muto lurches into class in a tired staggered. I suppose students are the only people here that enjoyed their late Friday nights. Without saying a word, he scrawns some page and question numbers on the board and slumps down at his desk. It's completely atypical behavior for him, but it appears that no one in class is gonna call him out on it. Wordless, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work. Not wanting to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made the class antisocial. Not a peep is heard among the ruffling papers. That could partly be attributed to the two empty seats beside me. For some reason, Misha and Sasune aren't present, probably doing council's work for the festival. It's very quiet without Misha present. I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or if she is making up for Sasune's lack of voice. Nikai, can I speak to you for a moment? I'm so engrossed in thinking about Misha that I didn't even notice Muto approaching my desk. Sure, what's this about? It's probably better if we spoke outside the classroom. Something about this doesn't sound too good, but I stand up and follow him out to the hallway. Muto stands in the hallway, scratching his head as he works out what he's trying to say. Not knowing what's going on, I wait silently. I heard from the school nurse that you had an incident the other day. Ah, so it's about that. Well, kind of. But it's not anything to be worried about. Yes, it is. Anything that could endanger your health is something to be worried about. We try our best to prepare you for life here. Part of that includes knowing your limits and how to work around them. It would be remiss of me if I didn't speak up about this. Alright, I get it. I'm sorry. Muto closes his eyes in frustration, and I realize that this probably wasn't the best thing to say. Something tells me that you're not sorry. Pretend as much as you want, but this isn't a normal school. A lot of people have put in a lot of time, effort, and money to make sure that you and every other student here could have the same level of education as your peers. For you to abuse that by throwing out advice, especially medical advice, is plain selfish. I'm not quite sure if this is actually how he feels, or if it's some act that he's practiced many times to guilt trip students into doing the right thing. Either way, it's working. I understand, this is all new to me, and I apologize. I know my limits now, and I'll be sticking to them. Muto appears to lighten up a little, satisfied that his message has been received. So then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard for me. Muto taps his chin and raises an eyebrow as he absorbs this information. Is that so? I suppose there are still students out there who realize the importance of learning. I don't want to go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in my little life support prison. Well, yeah, you gotta keep up with these things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in this world and you're left behind, right? Right. Wouldn't want that to happen. No, you wouldn't. Every week there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the layer son, but any one of them could be the key to the next big thing. I'll keep that in mind. It's obvious that Muto's serious talk is over, and he's gone back to his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think in hindsight that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. Well then, I think that's all I really had to say. Let's get back inside, shall we? My relief at the suggestion is insurmountable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Muto pauses for a moment. I don't think any of my students have ever said that to me before. For an instant, I consider replying to this, but something deep within me tells me to shut my mouth and get back into class. A few of the students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend that they were working on the question on the board. Some don't even bother. Their heads slump on the desk as they nap. Thankfully, it would appear that Muto doesn't even notice them. He returns to his desk, retrieve a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got to him there. The class returns to the near silence that Muto and I left it in before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last-minute preparations underway. The clock on the wall slowly strikes the remaining class time away until the final bell cries out, ending the torment. Before you all leave, I expect the answers for those problems by Monday. The class sighs as one instantly regrets slacking off, but still acutely aware of the more pressing issue at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to the last-minute festival preparations. I stay behind, try to quickly finish the questions so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend, with the festival and all tomorrow. Apart from me, Hanako is the only one left, obviously waiting for Lily. It's weird that Lily comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up. I expect that moving around is at least normally harder for her than it is for Hanako. But it's none of my business, and I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relatively proximity of our seats, neither tries to strike up a conversation about that or anything else either. So, an oppressive silence falls upon the classroom. Time passes in silence. It's probably just 15 minutes or so, but it feels longer. I turn pages of my notebook. Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. My pencil lead spins against the paper, just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sound of my irritation sigh and subsensual fumbling around for a sharpener felt like they're breaking the mood in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. Before long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako? Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump up from her desk and run to Lily. They talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lily leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye, sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of moments, she does nothing but sit with her chin in her hand, staring at the desk dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her, though. Her slender frame reaches into her bag and pulls out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the one I saw her reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through that at this rate. After about 10 minutes of restlessly shuffling in her seat and trying to read, Hanako closes her book and leaves too. As should I, since the assignment is all but finished and there is nothing else to do in this classroom. Not that I have anything to do anywhere else either. The school is a beehive of activity, but no one pays me any heed. I slumber past classrooms filled with students frantically doing this and that, buzzing around like little worker bees. You wouldn't guess the school day is over. It's a bit quieter outside, but not by much. People zip by left and right, hurrying as quickly as they can, busy and energetic. I feel the opposite. The midday sun seems to be draining all the spirit out of my body, making it feel limp all over. Warm, soft air flows inside my shirt, feeling like a cushion. I yawn, lazily thinking about what I would do. I drop off my books at the dorm first and then something I haven't decided yet. Maybe Kenji is in his room. On my way to the dorms, I spot Emmy coming my way, running despite not having those weird running prosthetics on. I wave at her and she skids to a stop. Yo, it's Al! Spitters of white and green paint adorn her nose and chin, respectively, but her smile is wide, as it seems it always is. She leans closer to me, amplifying the feeling she is examining me. What you doing? Nothing really. I don't have anything to do for the festival, and everyone else seems to be doing something important. That's perfect. Then you can help me and Rin. With the festival preparations, I'm not sure if I would be much help. That's fine. I'm not much help either. Emmy grabbed my wrist and started dragging me back inside the school, quite forcefully. Even her walking speed is more like jogging, making me stumble over myself, simply trying to keep her up. The stairs slowed Emmy down a little bit. Maybe it's hard to climb with her legs, or maybe she's finally ran out of breath. We go all the way back to the third floor and the senior hallway, ending up where I left 5 minutes ago. I could just as well have stayed here waiting for Emmy had I known. So, is Ren working on that mural still? That's right. She needs all kind of paints and brushes and stuff. So I want to get them from the art classroom. And you need my help with that. Well, Ren told me you had already helped her, so I thought you wouldn't mind. I see. So thanks to Emmy's flagrant logic, here I am again, collecting stuff from the art classroom from other people. The room is empty apart from ourselves and the lonely specks of dust floating in the air. Emmy skips straight away to the back wall, digging out a tiny crumpled piece of paper from her pocket. While she tries to make sense of the screwed handwriting, I take a closer look at the materials lying around. Dozens of paint cans and bottles are arranged on the shelves in a most unorganized fashion. Some look like they have been left there for several decades, relics of previous art club generations. Next to the heavy stacks of neatly piled drawing paper are boxes full of different sized brushes and unsorted canvases. The smells of paint, thorough paint, and fresh paper float in the stale air, mixing in my nostrils to form that unmistakable smell of art. Emmy studies her notes, comparing them to markings on the various paint cans, and presses them to me as she finds the correct matches. She scratches her neck to look at the topmost shelf, but it's not quite enough. Her eye level stays below the shelf no matter what she does. Emmy gives up and just looks to the shelf, laughing like a child at a toy store, huffing in annoyance. After a moment of building anger, she starts jumping up and down, apparently trying to speed read the labels during the fraction of a second she can see them, and catch what she can. It's no surprising that she fails miserably, and almost manages to bring the entire shelf crashing down. Now I see why me lending a hand here would be useful. Come on, let me do that. You can't jump high enough, and I don't want you to hurt yourself trying. Also, I'm like twice your height. You are not. She turns around, flaming, scorched, flushed cheeks and all. Just kidding, just kidding. Anyway, I look up there, okay? She glares at me one more time, but can't come up with a retort. With a grumbling, turns her back to me. So I begin scoundering around the top shelf of paint, while Emmy crouches to scavenge what she can from the cupboards. I shake my head a little after double checking to ensure she can't see me do so. Emmy having a complex about her height was a surprise. I wouldn't have joked about it otherwise. She seems easygoing, but I guess everyone has their weak spots. Only after we have almost all the items collected and spread out on the desk like a treasure hunter spoils, do I realize that it wasn't necessarily the height jab that got her riled up. She might not like to be told that she can't do something like jump. But Emmy herself seems to have forgotten all about it quickly. Quick to anger, quick to forgive. Is she that type of person? At least she doesn't seem to have taken anything to heart as she chatters away happily while we pick up the rest of the items, and then make our way back to Ren. I courteously carry the bulk of the materials as we make our way towards the dorms. Ren is really stressed about getting her painting done. It's her own fault though. She should have started earlier. Is she going to make it? No idea. It looks good to me, but with Ren, you never know what's going on. I found her this morning, lying in front of the dorm in fatal position. She hadn't slept all night. I can't believe that the night nurses hadn't found her. And now she's painting again like crazy. Yeah, I've noticed that she comes off as kind of unhinged, so to speak. Emmy giggles at that, as well as my likely too obvious awkwardness. I don't mind it. She's just a little weird sometimes. On that, I could agree with her. Unlike me, Emmy seems to be cool with friends, whatever it is, that feels so off about her. Still, they don't feel close like Misha and Sasune do, with them working as a single entity sometimes. It's hard to say where one ends and the other begins. Even though they're so different, just like Emmy and Ren are. And Ren is the most different of them all. Different from anyone else I've met. Yeah, I guess she's a very unique person. I return to that word again, as if it encompassed Ren's personality by itself, but reality is just a substitute for a lengthy description of her oddities. Emmy giggles as I grasp about for a proper, decisive description word. She's just weird. You know, earlier she spent half an hour sitting on her box and stared at her toes. She giggles again in a way that makes me think she doesn't know what's funny about it. It just is. All that time. The working area is a mess, but the mural itself has taken over even more of the wall since I last saw it. The disfigured human features have been mostly colored in tones of red, pink, and orange. Weird, imaginary things populating the space between. It looks nice. I can't think of any word that would describe the work consistently and comprehensively, so I settled myself on a non-descriptive nice. But honestly, it seems that the area around the wall becomes untidier at the same rate as the mural progresses. The ground is littered with dozens of paint cans, various art supplies, and empty soda bottles. Ram herself is in the center of this chaos, standing there looking very cozy as if she was a natural part of the scene. Her pant legs have been rolled to her knee, exposing her thin legs, which sport a drying cylinder of war paintings similar to those on Emmy's face. Emmy sprints to Rin ahead of me and gleefully jumps in front of her. I'm back! That was fast. Did you run in the corridors again? His Sab helps me. Emmy points victoriously at me. Rim turns around, following Emmy's fingers with her eyes, looking at my general direction. She nods absent-mindedly at me. She looks like she hasn't slept since last night. A vacant, glazed stare that's focused slightly off me and moves like a slow-motion movie. Hello, Hassel. Thank you for the help. Don't mention it. I just did. Never mind. Looks like you made progress. Looking good as far as I can tell. But now you get more bad luck. I know, but I'm willing to take the risk. That's a very nice thing to say for me. Of course, not for you. This is why artists are always unlucky. They have to constantly look at their unfinished paintings. So artists can't find romance, their favorite TV shows are cancelled, or they die young because an unspecified disease. It's a deep and mysterious law of the universe. Unless they're blind. She considers this for a while, looking like she's going to fall asleep. There is a boy. At the art club, you see. Blind boy, so he doesn't see. He should become an artist. No bad luck guaranteed. Don't you think that would be a good idea? That only blind people should become artists? No, not as such. ... You might have a point. Abandoning this train of thought, she turns again to consider her work and starts humming a tune that I think I recognize, but can't remember the name of. Emmy arranges the supplies we brought and moves a few paint cans around, trying to bring some organization to the scene. Emmy, I need the passion blue paint. Which one's passion blue? She's staring helplessly at 7 or 8 cans with a different tone of blue. It's the one with passion blue painted in it. Geez, Ren, you're not helping at all. I look around as well. I don't know what passion blue looks like either. I wonder what blue has to do with passion. Or what passion even is. The name sounds vaguely familiar, but I can't place it. None of the blues look more Prussian than the others. Small paint on the labels is legible enough to determine that none say anything about the contents of being Persian. There is no Prussian blue here. We need to go get more then. I open my mouth to say that actually we're not both needed for such a simple task like finding another pot of Prussian blue, but Emmy's already grabbed my arm and started dragging me off. I wave to Ren, who doesn't seem to have noticed that the two of us are even leaving. Well, she noticed when she goes for her Prussian blue and finds out it's still not there. Maybe. Dot dot dot. Probably not, actually. While I'm busy thinking of how weird Ren is, Emmy's been dragging me back to the art classroom. I feel myself starting to running out of breath. What's the rush? Huh? Emmy's giving me an appraising look as if she's trying to figure something out. It's just that you seem to be in a hurry. I'm not sure I can keep up. Comprehension draws on her face. You're not out of breath, are you? There's almost an accusing playfulness to her tone. I'm tempted to deny it, but then I realize that I've been breathing heavily since we stopped. Yes, it's kind of obvious. A little. Not everyone can be in shape, you know. Takes all kind, right? Emmy frowns. It's not a particularly good frown. That is, I should get in shape. Not that I haven't decided to try for that. After that flitter on the track, I figure there's a real need to get some sort of running habit. I was, after all, feeling pretty good until I had my first false alarm. Well, actually, I wasn't, but it was fun. Meanwhile, my comments seem to have helped Emmy come to some sort of decision. Well, that's it then. She gives me a serious look. You're joining me. ... I beg your pardon? In the mornings. You and I are now running partners. I got a routine all planned out, in fact. She produced a crumpled sheet of paper. I got it right here with me. I take the sheet of paper and give it a once over. Time, date, laps, and all laid out. A slow increase from just a few laps a day to... My God, does she expect me to have me running marathons? And where does she find the time to get this all together? And how long has she been planning this anyway? You've been planning this? A little. But it's really the nurse's idea. He told me to keep an eye on you to make sure you exercise like he told you to. A vast conspiracy. Maybe Kenji's onto something here. This seems a bit much for just keeping an eye on me. Well, to be honest, I've been trying to find a running partner in the morning for a while now. God, Kenji, if you could only see the scene unfolding. What do you need a partner for anyway? It's easier to keep up a workout if you're not the only one doing it. Isn't that obvious? You're less likely to quit as someone else is counting on you to be there, right? I see, and this won't only keep you running, but it will make sure that I keep running as well. Meaning that I'll be obeying the nurse. And I'll be keeping an eye on you just like he asked. You caught on quick, Pixel. And if I refuse? I have no intention of refusing, of course. But I got to at least put up a token resistance to such a masterful executed plan. Well, if you refuse, I have to pout. And you have to live with being the guy who made Emi Uzabaki pout. You don't want to be that. You don't want that on your conscience, do you? As if to demonstrate, Emmy begins pouting. It is the most adorable, heart-wrenching thing I have ever seen. Okay, I'll do it. Just don't do that again. I feel like I just hit a puppy. So it's settled, right? You're going to be my running partner. Follow the workout and the dietary plan. Dietary plan? Yep, the dietary plan. You got to eat healthy if you're going to get into shape, you know. I examine the workout routine closely. I don't see a dietary plan on here. Oh right, I forgot to give that to you. Another crumpled sheet of paper is produced and handed over. It's somewhat less detailed. I had the nurse help me come up with it. The amount of dedication that nurse has to keeping me in good health is pretty overwhelming. I don't know many school nurses who would get one of their students to spy on me, much less help come up with a dietary plan. Then again, I guess I'm not in a normal school, and maybe that's not such a bad thing. Then again, this dietary plan seems to cut out just about everything that will be offered at the festival tomorrow. So when does our running start? After the festival. Right after. What if I have something to eat there? I could get a stomachache, you know. I mean the day after the festival. I knew that. Wasn't there something we were supposed to be doing? Oh, I guess we should get the paint for Ren, huh? Oh no, it slipped my mind. By the time we get the paint and get back to the mural, Ren's already wandered off. Oh well. Ren and I both decide to part ways there, leaving the paint on the ground. Ren will find it whenever she comes back anyway. Festival tomorrow. I'm actually a little excited for it. At the same time, the week's left me feeling pretty tired, so I read a little and then go to bed. And that seems like the perfect place to end it. Next time, it's going to be the festival with Emmy and Ren, I guess. Well, that has been everything there is for me today, so this is Visual Novel Gamer. I hope you like, comment, subscribe, tell me how your day is going, tell me how you're liking the story so far. I hope everyone has a great time, and see you all next time. Peace.